sure you keep up with all the new content on Gaming for XP. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll let you know once we've uploaded anything that's new. See ya! Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the asylum. We're just going to make Dogmeat sit there for a minute. And let's have a look on the outside. So I really went for an old worldly kind of institutionalized look on this build. And I think I can push this. Most of the outside is done with snappy house kits pieces together with workshop rearranged. There's lots of little nuances and details here to kind of sell that overall old building institutionalized look, and I think I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And so I think the atmosphere with the rain also helps to sell this build. So shall we go inside? Let's go and see what we can find inside the asylum. So when you first come into the building, you're greeted with a fairly airy and open reception area. I'll do this as slow as possible so you can kind of soak in all the atmosphere and some of the detail that's involved in here. If you looked at the first video, you would have seen the struggle that went on to try and get this to look fairly symmetrical. So waiting area obviously there. You can come and speak to the receptionist who directed us have a seat. If you're a bit thirsty, pick up a bit of a Nuka-Cola there or grab a drink of water while you are waiting. So you can see there's some secure residential areas there. We'll get to that in a second. Let's go into the chill out area, the little courtyard that I put in, and you can see nobody can jump at there, but again I've went with a fairly airy looking area, very high. You know, you can see the roof is glass and looks up into the sky. We've added a few planters and benches in here for the residents to chill out and relax and maybe read a book or do whatever they need to do. So there is an area down that corridor there which we will get to, but what we're going to do is we're going to go round in a loop on level 1, and we'll come back and go down into the basement. Thing you should never do in video games is go down into the basement. Okay. And certainly a lot of the horror movies I've ever watched, they always go down into the basement, and it doesn't end up well. So let's go into the A-wing, make sure we shut the door so nobody gets out. And I've got a little bit of an administration area, and we've got a lot of little kind of offices around. I've used the mesh fences on the windows to make it look secure. And obviously this is where they keep all the patient records and do some of the administration for A block. And let's go through and have a look at the accommodation. So this is uniform on both sides of level 1, and all the rooms are the same, and I'll show you one of the cells. There isn't much to it. There's a chair, a bed, a bucket and a shelf, and that's it. Nothing much else to it. Every cell, or every accommodation has a light, and you can see there's lots of little details like wood paneling on the walls, and the lights I've used to make it really look a little bit older and a little bit run down. So moving and going into a transitional area from block A to block B, we have like a little day room. Looks at onto Concord and whatnot. And again, I've been very careful with the style of furniture I've used in here, the style of lights, everything, just to make it look a little bit older. See that some of the hangings on the walls and whatnot. The residents obviously like to play card games and a little bit of checkers. And they've got some collectibles around the place and whatnot. Somebody obviously left in a rush because they've left their cigar burning for some reason, but anyway, they're playing cards. Obviously they got disturbed for some reason. Be interesting to see if I put settlers into Abernathy, how they would use this area. Who's that guy there? How did you get in? Are you stuck, mate? You can't get out. What are you doing here? Did you get out of your cell or something? So we... Yep. Yeah, mate. No, you need to leave. Sorry. I don't know why I was looking at my Pip-Boy, but anyway, this is a little cafe for the staff to make cups of coffee and for the residents and whatnot. Thought I'd just put a little kitchen in here. There's a more formal cafe upstairs, and you'll see that in a little bit. You get through this door fairly quick because it auto closes, just like that. See, I've showed you how to use the door now. It hit you in the face, but never mind. And the B wing is pretty much the same as the opposite side. Like I said, it's just a duplicate. Okay, let's go around. We're nearly out of level 1. And again, here's another staff administration point on the other side. A little bit different to the one that we saw in A-wing, but you know, serves the same purpose. Okay, so there we go. Close the door, make sure nobody gets out. Okay, let's head down into the basement. So this builds on 4 different levels, which was kind of just happened. I didn't plan it that way. I planned maybe 2 to 3 levels, but it ends up being 4, and I'm quite happy with it. Bit of a glitching issue there with the door, but I'm not too worried about that because it's the basement. So we'll get to that area in a minute. So what you would normally want to see in the basement is obviously down here we have the power generator down here, fusion generator. I haven't done too much with that. I did a little bit of water down here. You can see there's a little bit of a leakage problem. And that wall that stone wall in front of us is the kind of planter box. If you saw the last build video, you would see that I dropped that into the courtyard above. And obviously all the maintenance work needs to be done, so there has to be a maintenance area, and so we have a little workshop down at the bottom here with everything you're ever going to need. It's like a big man shed that you can hide away in if you need to. Obviously the basement is the right place to do that. I could have done more with the basement, but I decided to leave it at kind of where I am. I could have done a lot down there. I could have extended and done a whole lot of other stuff, but I decided not to. And because we're in the basement, obviously you're out of sight, out of mind. So this is where all the kind of scientific experiments happen on some of the residents, or they have in the past, a la kind of Parsons Asylum was really the influence for this. And so I had never used any cryolators in my builds before, or memory den seats, so I threw them all in one room. Why not? It kind of sort of worked here. I got a feeling this room's maybe a little bit crowded, but not sure anyway. I've left it as is. Never sat in one of these before. Let's see what happens. Let's have a seat. Ah, memory lounger. Please stand by, but nothing really actually happens. That's it. So there you go, we have got our little experimental room down here. I guess electric shock and memory treatment can be done down here. If they're too much of a problem, you just put them in the cryolator and forget about them, I guess, for a couple 100 years. Okay, so I'm going to change the weather in a second. We'll go bright and sunny for the level 2. Now, transitional areas are very important. Well, I think they're very important, and I'm about to show you a transitional area, which is the stairs up in here. And this is obviously an old storage area that transitions from level 1 to level 2, but It's important to sell this and not ignore this and add some bits and pieces down there. Obviously it's a kind of pseudo storeroom down here, and you would have seen that the struggle with these stairs when we built, I think it was the first build we showed. Welcome to level 2. So we got a little bit of a cafe happening in here. Lots of little bits and pieces, mostly with creative clutter. A lot of these pieces are from creative clutter. A lot of new pieces like the mustard and the ketchup bottles and whatnot. It's got a lovely little view over Abernathy Farm while you're preparing meals. And so we'll go around in a loop. Obviously there's a little area you can sit and wait. Just have a quick look over reception, how it looks from level 2. Now you would see gaps in the walls at the top there. When you look on the outside, I've put some cappings on, and that's just a feature of the mod where it just doesn't fill in the gap in the inside. So this is the warden's room. Gentleman that runs the whole asylum has a fairly fancy office. Nice little fireplace. And you can come and visit and have a meeting with him or her if you need to. And he's got a fairly pleasant view as well. There we go. So I wanted this to look big and formal and luxurious. I think we've achieved that. Okay, moving on to the next room, and this is where the residential doctor for the asylum does his consultancies or her consultancies. And here we go. Got everything you'll need to do kind of examinations and have a little bit of a chat. And I've purposely tried to make these rooms feel a little bit different with the walls. I've used the wallpapers, etc. And obviously the decorative items that we use. So onwards to the administration block for the whole facility. Just pretty uniform area here. Couple of desks, whole lot of filing cabinets and computers and whatnot. But what we do have, and you can see I've used the same idea as I did downstairs with these things from Snappy House Kits as kind of dividers. But what we also do have down at the bottom here is the security area where everything is monitored to make sure nobody's doing the wrong thing. So welcome to the security room. Got a lot of this at warehouse rearranged, SOE expansion pack, etc. It's not a lot on telly today, but anyway. Tucked away in a corner, little security room. You can see the we got a good view down into the courtyard here, but you can't actually jump down. And that was kind of something I saw in the Outlast game, which I kind of decided to grab and use in this build. And so to the hospital wing. So, you know, obviously it's an asylum, so the patients will need treatment from time to time, and it's a fairly substantial hospital wing here. I've used these little tables as kind of what you would see in a hospital for putting your meals on. There's lots of little details in here, lots of little things lying around. Some day tripper there. And a little nurse's station right at the end here. And that X-ray light box is on the blink a little bit. Nurses can put all their stuff in the lockers there. There's obviously keys for the medicine cabinet and whatnot. And this particular area was influenced by a build I did at the castle, a hospital ward that I did at the castle, and looks pretty spiffy. Also, they have to have a bathroom, so we got my patented sink design for the bathroom. Here we go. And obviously we have the facilities which have auto closing doors, which is pretty posh. And just to prove that, no hands people, look, there it goes, it's closed. And finally, you can do the experiments in the basement, but you can also hide people up in the attic space. And I installed Snap and Build specifically to do the roof on this building, and it gave me a nice little attic space. And I always get a scare when I see this guy, because I think it's somebody that's going to shoot me. But I didn't do a lot of decoration up here, because if you're in the Abernathy Asylum, you know that there's not a lot up in the attic. Just close that door for a second. And I do not know what's going on there. A bit of a mannequin party. Anyway, we will just ignore that and run away. The roof on this building just was a nightmare, especially the bit we're in now. Just carefully walk across there so we don't fall through the glass. And we have a few vents on the top. So there you go, guys, the asylum build. It was excellent little build. It took a long time. It had a heap of things that I had to figure out and get past, which I love. It was a challenging build to do. It's turned out a lot better than I'd originally kind of had in my head and envisaged how it would look. And I'm real happy with it, and you can see it's got a fantastic view from the rooftop of the whole area of Concord and Red Rocket and whatnot. So guys, thanks for watching. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you did, leave a like, leave some comments. I'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya!